Have you ever been sitting alone at home, maybe scrolling on your phone or about to fall asleep? And suddenly, you hear it. Your name, clear as day. You turn around, and no one's there. Creepy? Maybe. But here's the thing. You're not alone in this experience. In fact, there's something psychologically deep behind why so many people report hearing their own name when no one is actually calling them. And today, we're going to break down exactly what's happening in your brain, why it chooses your name specifically, and how to tell the difference between something totally normal versus something you might want to pay attention to. First, let's talk about why your name is so special. Your name is what psychologists call a super stimulus. From the moment you're a child, your brain has been conditioned to pay attention to it. Parents call you for food, teachers call on you in class, friends shout it across the street. It's been your brain's signal for something important is happening. Neurological studies actually show that when we hear our own name, certain areas of the brain light up more strongly than they do for other words. The reticular activating system, that's the part of the brain responsible for attention and alertness, reacts strongly. And so does the temporal parietal region, which helps us process meaning and sounds. In simple terms, your brain is wired to snap to attention at your name, which means even if a random noise is a little ambiguous, like the hum of the fridge or a muffled voice on the TV, your brain might twist it into, wait, was that my name? Your brain is essentially biased toward hearing your name, even when you hear nothing at all. That's why, even in a crowded room, you can instantly pick out your name in a sea of noise. It's known as the cocktail party effect. Your brain is basically scanning the world, waiting for that one word that represents you. But here's where it gets weird. Because your brain is so tuned into your name, sometimes it starts to hear it, even when it isn't really there. This brings us to something called auditory pareidolia. You've probably heard of visual pareidolia. When you see faces in clouds or patterns in wallpaper, your brain is basically a pattern detecting machine, and it would rather give you a false alarm than miss something important. The same thing happens with sound. Random noise, memory echoes, or even your own inner thoughts can be misinterpreted as a voice. And because your name is the most meaningful sound your brain knows, it's the one most likely to pop out of the noise. Now, sometimes it isn't even about outside noise at all. Think of it this way. Your brain stores thousands of memories of people saying your name. Some of those moments carry strong emotion, like when a parent yelled it in anger, or when a friend called it in excitement. These memory traces can resurface almost like a playback. This is especially common when you're stressed, lonely, or tired. Your own inner voice, that voice in your head you use to think, can sometimes blur the line between "I imagined that" and "I actually heard that." These are what psychologists call episodic memory traces, emotional imprints that your brain stores. And every so often, when you're tired, lonely, or deep in thought, your brain might replay one of those traces like an echo, vivid enough to sound real. It's not that you're hearing things, it's that your brain is so good at simulating reality, it can recreate sound from memory so vividly that it feels external. So if you've ever been lying in bed, half asleep, and suddenly hear your name, chances are it's a mix of memory, inner speech, and your brain filling in the blanks. This can even happen with your own inner voice. You think your name, but the thought feels like hearing it out loud. That's how blurry the line between perception and imagination can get. Another big factor, stress. When we're anxious, grieving, or going through a tough time, our brain becomes hypervigilant. The amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats, gets overactive. And here's the catch. When your brain is on high alert, it starts scanning for signals of danger, attention, or social cues. But it's not perfect. It would rather give you a false positive than risk missing something. So you end up with moments like, wait, did someone just call me? Even when no one did. Alright, so we know why it happens. But how do you tell if it's just a brain quirk or something deeper? Normal experiences usually happen in quiet or ambiguous environments, like when you're falling asleep. Occasionally, not constantly. With insight, you realize quickly, okay, that wasn't real, and they don't cause distress. But if you hear it frequently, like daily or multiple times a day, and it's clear, distinct, and starts including other voices or sounds, that's different. If it causes anxiety, paranoia, or disrupts your life, that can sometimes be tied to things like extreme stress, PTSD, sleep disorders, or in rarer cases, psychosis-related conditions. So the difference comes down to frequency, clarity, distress, and whether other symptoms are showing up too. Okay, let's say it happens to you. You hear your name, turn around, and no one's there. What do? Here are some grounding techniques you can use in the moment. Pause and reality check. Look around. Is anyone nearby? Is a device on? Did your brain maybe just fill in a gap? Engage another sense. Touch something textured, focus on a smell, or take a sip of water. This resets your sensory system. Breathing reset. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Repeat a few cycles. It tells your nervous system, we're safe. Label it. Instead of panicking, just say to yourself, that was a brain echo, or that was my mind filling in sound. This reduces fear. Check your state. Are you tired, stressed, isolated? If yes, that's likely why it happened. Addressing those things usually helps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Name 5 things you see, 4 you touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, 1 you taste. This grounds you back in reality. Now, let's end on the deepest layer. Why is it always your name? It's because your name represents identity, belonging, and social connection. It's the word that ties you to the world. Hearing it, even phantomly, may reflect your mind's constant need for connection, or its habit of scanning for signals of attention. So in a strange way, when you hear your name in an empty room, it might just be your brain's way of keeping you connected, reminding you that you exist, that you matter, that your identity is real, even when no one else is around. It's like a whisper from your subconscious saying, I'm here. In a way, your brain is keeping you plugged into your social world, even when you're alone. So the next time you hear your name when no one's there, don't panic. Don't assume the worst. You aren't going crazy. Most of the time, it's just your brain doing what it's evolved to do. Find meaning, stay alert, and protect the person it's built around, you. But if it happens often, feels too real, or starts to cause distress, that's your cue to check in with a professional. Not because something's wrong, but because your brain might be trying to tell you it needs rest, support, or calm. Your mind is powerful, so powerful that sometimes it speaks in echoes. If you like this content and want to see more, hit that like button so more people see it, and subscribe for more deep dive psychology videos every week. And comment below. Have you ever heard your name when no one was there?